Hi, I'm Hannah, and welcome to my channel. This video is about the finishing of my comprehensive exams for my dissertation and getting to the point where I defended my examination, and then the part that happened after that examination where I had to pivot to working on my dissertation chapters. This part is particularly stressful because I was in Oxford for 2 weeks, and then I came home and I had one more week to finish up my prelim exams and then submit them. And it was a lot, mostly because I had to catch up on all of the things that I missed out on when I was in Oxford with my family. And then I had to work on my job as well as my prelim exams. And it was a lot of work. And there was a lot happening at that time that was particularly stressful. However, as evidenced here, I still had a lot of time to rock out to some of my favorite music, which right here is The Beach's Blame My Ex, which is an absolute banger of a song. Highly recommend.
Hello. It is Sunday, February 1, 3 p.m. My comps are due in 5 hours. I feel frazzled. And while I've resolved all of the comments in my document, all the little notes I left myself and, come back later, beef this up, that kind of stuff. Where's this random source? I am left trying to ascertain what I'm going to do for the next 5 hours. Because I'm not ready to turn it in yet. Don't know if I have more work to really be done. I can't just imagine sending it off. I don't know what to do. 5 hours is a long time. Maybe I'll take a nap. Can't imagine doing that either. Can't imagine doing anything. Just feels... It feels paralyzing because I don't know what to do to be productive or to meet the goal, I guess. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Yeah. I was very prepared for comps. I was extremely prepared. And even now, on the day that it's due, I'm sitting here going, I'm sitting here compelled by imposter syndrome to go, what if I'm not good enough? What if these answers are bad? What if I'm not fully answering the question? As if all of the work I've done for the past 3 weeks has somehow vanished. I am good enough. I've done the work. And I've done a good job. So why am I freaking out? Oh, because it's like a milestone moment and it's a big deal. And if I fail, then that's like a... My son asked me this morning what happens if I don't turn it in on time. And my mother-in-law and I just sort of chuckled and we were like, that's not an option. Like, I have to get it done. There's no plan B, basically. And he looked over at me and he's lost several of his like front teeth. And so he grinned at me, and his grin, got all these holes in it. And he goes, you know what that's called, Mom? And I was like, what? And he goes, perseverance. And it was so precious for him to acknowledge that. Because he's, a child. He's 8 years old. But I don't know what book he just read where perseverance came up, but man, dynamite. Good moment. It feels like a culmination of so much planning, so much writing in Oxford and now back home and in my job and my family and the sacrifices that so many people made along the way to be at the finish line and to think, okay, well, I turned it in now. I don't know how to just accept that, how to do that. But I have to.
Got everything turned in. 6 o'clock, so 2 hours early. Got it all in. Haven't had a panic attack, which is shocking. And I'm not really sure how I feel right now. Some relief, I guess. A lot of anticipation, a lot of fear, but I think that's normal. My chair emailed back and said that he got it. So, freaking out. Right after I submitted, I ended up going to Portland for a conference, which was fun, and I definitely enjoyed seeing some of my colleagues and presenting on a topic that I'm still fairly new to in math education. It was also a great way to sort of break up the experience of finishing my conference exams and knowing that I had to wait a while before I could work on my dissertation. At this point, we'd already figured out that my defense was going to be delayed. And as a result, I ended up not doing a lot of extra work on my dissertation during this point. And as you can see, it snowed in Spokane, which was lovely. And I had a great time that month with the conference and then the snow. So February was really marked by a lot of cool opportunities and at least some snow. And just like that, I was back at my desk preparing for my defense, which would preemptively answer questions of gaps in my exam and maybe strengthen my methods. So I was once again back at it.
I'm in the Zoom breakout room and I'm kind of freaking out. I haven't done my presentation yet. I'm freaking out. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
And an hour and a half later, it was over. I had passed. My committee had some feedback for me, but I would mostly be getting it via email later in the week. At this point, though, it was pretty much over. I just had to wait on their feedback so that I could get started on my dissertation.
It wasn't just another slasher. Scream flipped the genre on its head. Self-aware characters, rules of surviving a horror movie, razor-sharp wit, and scares that felt real again. It revitalized 90s horror, launching a new wave of terrifying films. And now, we're in an era where 90s nostalgia is back at full force. Fan theories, revivals, and horror fandom is bigger than ever. The classics are returning, and so is one of the biggest icons of them all. Catch Scream 7 in theaters now. A new chapter, a new mystery, and a whole new reason to scream.
And suddenly spring hit Spokane, which seemed insane to me, that at this point winter is over and spring is here.
This is a bed confession. Why do I say that? It's a great question. I don't know why exactly. I'm laying on my bed talking to my cat, convincing myself to get up and to go work on my dissertation, which I need to do. I need to also post a video about my comprehensive exams. So you could say this is a bit of a procrastination effort, but I needed to talk about my comps experience because I feel like that's something that I need to close out. The experience itself of my comprehensive exams was fine. Obviously, I went to Oxford. I came back. I had about a week left before I finished, and I submitted my exam. I got everything done. I met my deadline. Nothing tremendously terrible happened. But I had to wait about a month before I defended, and that was a very long month. Everyone told me not to work on anything, don't do anything until you get your feedback from your committee because they could completely change your direction. So I said, okay, cool, I won't do anything for a month. And then I didn't do anything for a month, and I watched a ton of reality TV, and I knitted a ton of socks and scarves for my kids, and I did a bunch of other stuff that I don't normally have time to do. And now it's been 2-3 weeks since my committee met, since I passed, since I'm writing my dissertation, and I lack cohesive direction about my routine. I know what I need to do. I know how to do the work. That's not really the problem. It's definitely really more about how am I going to reestablish a routine when I got out of a routine and my kids saw me more and I was doing more with my family and I was a lot happier. And so to know that I'm going to deliberately stop doing that so that I can write my dissertation, I think I'm avoiding it because I know that that's going to be hard, and I know that that's not really what I want to do. I want to be with my family more, but I have come this far, and I've spent this much money, and I've got to finish this degree, which is fine, and my kids get it. They understand. But that's kind of difficult to sit here and to recognize that I have enjoyed all of this extra time with my family. And I'm kind of sad that I have to put that on hold for a bit to write my dissertation. I told one of my mentors I felt like I was spending too much time with my family, and she looked at me and was like, no one regrets spending time with their family. And I'm like, why do I regret it then? Why do I feel like I'm not doing the right thing? And she's like, baby, you need to take a break. Maybe you need to push out a semester. You know, she's coming up with all of these different options. And I'm like, well, I just feel like I allowed myself to get out of a routine because it was easy. And now I'm on the precipice of deadlines, and I'm struggling to get back into a routine. And that's my fault. It's entirely my fault. Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now.
So that's it. I'm working on my dissertation, and it's hard, and I'm a little bit ill-equipped sometimes, but we're doing the dang thing.